I want to talk about the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. This comes from the work of Coos and Posner in the book, The Leadership Challenge, highly recommended book on leadership. And in this book, they talk about these 5 practices. And so I want to make the application to transitional leaders who are working with congregations in transition. Whether you're in a supervisory role, whether you're in the trenches, you're serving as a coach, a leader, a pastor, these practices are applicable to all of us who have influence and have a part to play with congregations, with people who need our leadership and our influence. The first practice is it is our job to model the way. It is our job to show up with the behaviors, with the attitude, with the beliefs and the presence that you want others to practice. And we want to make ourselves a pattern for others to follow. That's what Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. And the assumption here is that as Christian leaders, we are following Christ. So when we set ourselves up as a model, we are following in the way of Jesus and wanting people to follow in that way. The values that we want others to have, we want to actually live those out in those behaviors. Second practice is we want to inspire a shared vision. Now, during times of transition, what I think this means for you as a transitional leader who is practicing an exemplary leadership skill or practice is to be able to imagine the possibilities that are there for that congregation as it relates to their future, as it relates to their transition. I've many times said that you need a transition vision. You need to be able to inspire people that in this time of transition, we're ripe with opportunity for change and God to do his transforming work in us. Your role as a transitional leader is to inspire a vision that truly connects them with what God is up to, what God is saying during their transition. It may not necessarily be that super long-term vision, because as a transitional leader, you're there for a season. So you want to inspire them with a vision that's relevant to the season that they're in, that can help them to continue to imagine possibilities. The third practice is to challenge the process. Now, what does that mean? That means that you are not just there to keep the status quo the status quo. That's more along the lines of a traditional type interim pastor that doesn't come with any sort of rock the boat attitude. And you're only there to rock whatever boats they want you to rock. So it's important to match and hear what is going on in that congregation. But you are to challenge the process. You're to encourage, try, fail, learn. You're to encourage the idea of let's try out some new ideas because our church is declining. Our church is needing revitalization. Let's experiment. Let's imagine what could be different. Times of transition require leadership to help people think differently, do differently, try on different ideas and practices and behaviors so that they can actually have a new future and see the change that they may say that they want. So that's number 3. Number 4 is an exemplary leadership practice is to enable others to act. It's very obvious to me, and hopefully it is to you, that you in transition are not there forever. And we tell you not to be there forever. That your time is limited. So more than ever, you want to enable and empower others to act. You want to be a collaborative leader, not too directive, because what happens when you're no longer there? They have no direction. You need to inspire and enable them to lead themselves, to work together, to be a team, to learn to get along and figure things out and make decisions and move forward together. That is the job of leadership, and especially during transition. And then the fifth practice is to encourage the heart. And I think, and I've heard this from people that I've worked with, that during this last year, there's all the more need to encourage people's hearts. There's a lot of discouragement, a lot of frustration, not being able to do the things that we used to be able to do, or even that we want to do in terms of meeting and gatherings and so on. So all the more your role is to encourage the heart, to recognize people, to affirm the gifts of people, to see the good that's happening in people, to celebrate the wins, and to be a really a role model of someone that's able to spot those wins and to celebrate the things that need to be celebrated. So there's these 5 practices, and a couple questions and reflection for you. Number 1 is, what comes naturally? Model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, encourage the heart. What do you find easy to do? It's good to know that. Good to know what your strengths are. The other question is, where do you need to grow? What's missing in your leadership or needs some emphasis because you recognize, okay, that's an area that I could actually up my game and be an even better leader in the days to come. So I leave you these 5 practices. I trust that's been helpful. As you step into those opportunities where God has invited you, may you be an exemplary leader with God being your helper. Thanks, and have a great day. And don't forget to leave a comment and tell me how you are practicing this in your own life and ministry. Take care.